Okay. What is up, you guys? The Fallout What If here. And today I'm going to be doing a what if that I haven't done in a long time. This is what if Deku was the reincarnation of Guts. And now here's the thing. I'm still going to like keep it the way I usually do. I'm going to put some music in it because it's been a while since I had music in it or edited it. But anyway, let's see, where were we at? Okay, so what happens is this. Izuku, or Guts as we know him to be, is basically going to what is that place called? Oh yeah, they're going to the camp. And they already met Shigaraki and all that stuff. So here's what happens. Deku is just going to bring his usual gear because he knows that this is a training camp. So he needs to train himself and the armor that he's going to wear. And anyway, all Guts does is basically ask them if, how would I say that, if they wanted to train with him. Because there's nothing better to do, so Guts usually just wanted to have his own fun. But Todoroki and Froppy, give me a second here. Anyway, Guts, Froppy, and Todoroki are going to sit on the bus with the other students. And here's the thing. Guts is sitting next by Todoroki. Well, Todoroki took the seat before she could. And here's the thing. Froppy will say, hey, that's no fair, kiddo. And this is when Todoroki says, yeah, I'm sorry, but we don't have any space left. And when she sees the space that is just a little bit that she could possibly fit, all Todoroki does is freeze that part, so she says, oh, sorry, you can't, how would I say this? Oh, you can't just go on that side. No, knowing you'll be cold and you'll be asleep. Wouldn't want that now, would we? And this is when Froppy says, alright, we'll play that game. And this is when she sits on Deku's lap, and she says, yeah, I wouldn't care about any of that. I care about my actual seat. The person who's big and tall, and the person I like. I like him. And I'm just going to sit on his lap. And this is when she says, what? What? Hold on here. You can't just sit on his lap. And this is when Todoroki says, yes I can. And I just did. And this is when she says, oh, this little hussy here. Hussy? Oh, but, excuse me, little Miss Daddy Issues. Oh, how freaking dare you. I dare so. And this is when basically Deku just says, you two stop fighting. There's no need to do this. All this is just childish. And this is when Todoroki and Froppy say, butt out of this. We have to discuss this between me and her. And this is when both of them are, how do I say it? Well, they're just pretty much sitting down on the bus now and not doing nothing. But here's the thing. This is when Izuku or Guts says, alright. To make this fair, tomorrow or whenever we get out of here, I'll make sure to have you sit on my lap and have Froppy sit next by me. Deal? And this is when basically Izuku just, how would I say this? Well, Guts just told them pretty much the plan. So they said, alright, fair enough. We could do it like that. And this is when Guts says, alright, now, let's hurry up and hopefully, how would I say this? The bus just makes it all the way over there? And Froppy says, yeah, I guess, but it's not going to be there. It's not going to be over there at least another 20 minutes. So, 20 minutes later, basically, they meet the Wild Pussycats. Deku and Froppy and Todoroki are sitting down there. And this is when, basically, everybody's outside besides those three. This is when Aizawa says, "What are you doing?" And this is when freaking Gut says, "Yeah, I don't feel like getting out right now. We'll wait until we get over there to the... We'll wait until we get to our destination." And this is when Aizawa says, "You listened in on my conversation, didn't you?" And this is when basically he says, "What do you mean?" I don't know what you're talking about." This is when Aizawa says, "Izuku, or Guts, you're a pretty bad liar. I kind of feel sad for you because you don't know how to lie." And this is when Guts says, what do you... And this is when basically Aizawa says, "Yeah, I knew that you had super hearing the moment, that time when basically we were taking you on. Well, us and the number 1 hero, 2, 3, 4, 5, the top 10 heroes, and other pro heroes. Don't you think that we could have found you if you didn't have that ability? You literally lived in the wilderness for a very long time. Doing this is a cakewalk for you, Izuku, or Guts." And this is when basically Todoroki and Froppy say, "Wait a minute, I forgot that he lived in the wilderness." And this is when he says, Alright, you can stay here, but you have to do, how would I say this, I guess, help everybody with homework." And this is when Izuku says, "You know I don't like that stuff." And this is when Aizawa says, "Well, if you want to stay here, that's fine by me. We need some people to help us with some paperwork." And this is when Guts says, "Alright, fine. Alright, let's go." And this is when basically Guts says, "You're an evil man at times, you know that?" And this is when freaking Aizawa says, "I love you too, Izuku. Now get out of here before I make you do even more work." And this is when basically Guts just gets off of there. And this is when the Wild Pussycats are ready to now shoot everybody down. But before that could happen, Izuku just grabs them. And then Guts just says, Alright. If you guys don't understand why I keep saying Izuku and Guts, I don't know why, I just like calling them Izuku by both names now. It's kind of funny and weird, but anyway. Guts just carries the both of them and jumps all the way down and starts running into the forest. And this is when basically Pixie Bob, I think, just says, "Wait a minute, no fair. You can't just do that. That was a part of the surprise." And this is when a lot of the other students start to try to book it, but a couple of people got it, like, let's say Sero, Kirishima, probably Mina, but the rest are just like, yeah, no way. They might as well have not done that. But this is when Izuku just starts to go in, and how would I say this? Yeah, pretty much destroying a lot of the creatures, and Todoroki just using her ice and fire, just shooting them, making a blocking a lot of areas where there's a lot of like creatures. Now, here's the thing. Izuku's going to have a new quirk with his what's called Dark Predator skill. And why it's a Dark Predator skill? Well, basically, I'll tell you why. Izuku's dark emotions fester in his survival, not only that, making him the ultimate predator, thus the name Dark Predator. And what this does is basically something that he now made in his own body. It's somewhat adapted to it. He has the ability to somewhat, how would I say this? Oh yeah, basically he has the ability to somewhat copy their quirks when he eats their flesh. So, when Izuku was running with the other ones, with Todoroki and Froppy, they actually came across a wild boar, which is technically bigger than Izuku, which means that this is a real deal killing machine right here, versus the real deal killing machine. Now this quirk, this is a quirk, animal with the quirk, and it's also known as what's called fear hardening. Now, this is a quirk which basically has, well, first of all, this has the, how would I say this? I don't know, to be honest, but they are, I don't know how to say it, but give me a second here, people. Right here and right. Anyway, so what happens is this: the thing that that the boar's hardening quirk can do, it consumes the fear of others, and this fear is one that, how would I say this? If you took a lot of, so if somebody was scared right now, if you jump scared them and they scream like a girl, you could take probably their fear can make you, well, they can give you the hardening quirk a boost. It's black actually, and their skin turns darker and darker and darker, causing them to become much more harder, like obsidian or something like that, or some kind of weird material. But right now, the freaking boar is taking the fear off of Froppy and Todoroki, because this thing just popped out of them. And these girls never actually had to fight animals before. Or they fought animals, but not like this. So, what happens at the very end is this. What is his name again? They go around, freaking Guts swings his freaking sword at him, and it pretty much stabs it, but it doesn't do a thing. The boar just freaking hits it, or freaking hits Deku, and basically Deku is flying to a tree, causing the two trees to break because he snapped one, and then after that broke the other one. This is when Izuku just somewhat runs to him, doing a 50% Texas smash, but this is when the boar is pretty much dodged one of it, or dodged its attack, because this is not any wild boar. This came from Africa. This is basically a kind of warthog slash bigger rhino kind of. It's a weird kind of mixture between those two. So this is when Deku just starts running at it and about to kick it, but this is when the freaking this is when Izuku just kicks it, but it doesn't do a thing. All it does is just make it more mad. And this is when Izuku thinks that he has to go 100%, grabbing his sword, just running as fast as he can, even though the girls are scared, even though the girls are scared, and it's fueling the quirk. Izuku does not care right now. He's pretty much mad, and he stabs it right into the freaking stomach. After that, the boar is on the ground, and pretty much it can't do a thing. Now, let's see. Oh, Izuku just starts gnawing on this thing, eating it, ripping its flesh because it's still alive. But Izuku knows this. If he just stops right now, this boar could probably end or attack him. And how do I say it? He does not want to be attacked. So he's going and going and going until he reaches the heart and just takes a big chunk out of it, ripping it apart. And this is when the boar dies, because for some reason it lived long enough. And this is a kind of weird freaking Mortal Kombat fatality right here. And yeah, pretty much that's it. Now, I'm going to not end this off here, but just give me a second here. And now we're back. Now, here's what's going to happen. Guts takes Koda, not Koda, Todoroki and Frappian starts running again. While they keep doing that, Izuku is starting to feel this kind of pressure within him. He doesn't know why, doesn't know when, doesn't know how, but he feels this strange phenomenon happening to him. And this is basically the quirk now forming and resonating with Izuku. His body starts to feel kind of weird, but this is when basically he trips and regains his balance. And this is when the girls, when they got scared, they basically, just, were scared. Izuku absorbed the fear within them, and for some reason, Izuku is now black. And when I mean black, I mean his skin is black. When I mean that, I mean kind of like how hockey is. Basically, it looks like hockey, or basically the, how would I say it? He has hockey all around his body. That's how the hardening quirk works. It works within the body. It doesn't just work in certain places. So, basically, all Guts is doing is starting to just run and just feels this kind of energy within him, feeling like he can't, feel this, he can't feel nothing within his legs while he keeps running. Now, when he's doing this, Izuku is just now running and running and running, going 100%, and now, in 2 minutes, he's already made it there. Now, all Guts does is just basically says, alright, it's time for all of us to get, it's time for you two to go down right here. And they're basically a little dizzy because he was running to the point of hard where basically they kept hitting their heads, or basically the wind was pushing their heads back and forth. So basically Todoroki and Frappy were just almost about to pass out, and this is when basically Deku just grabs 100% off on his one arm and just hits the air, basically causing a freaking break wind or something like that to go all the way back over there in the, how would I say this? Oh yeah, pretty much hitting the whole freaking, I really forgot what this was. Hitting the trees and all that stuff, creating a path for everybody. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. And while that happens, basically the rest of the Class 1A knows where to go, and they're running as fast as they can because there's basically monsters over there, and two of their strongest ones are gone. Now there's only one of their strongest ones, and then after that, so on and so forth. Now basically takes less time. Deku meets Koda. Koda was going to punch him, but this is when Koda sees three freaking dogs. The moment he looked at his arms basically, his hands, his right and left hands, talking while crouching down, basically reminded him of either Cerberus or just a basic hellhound. You guys will pick which one is which. But this is when Izuku just says, "Hey kid, why do you feel so scared? There's nothing to worry about, because I'm here." And this is when All Might was already over there, and yeah, pretty much he just wanted to be there for one day, just seeing how everything was. After hearing what Izuku says, All Might was thinking, oh man, oh boy, this is something I have to be happy about. He just said those words. Good memories. But this is when basically Koda just runs away. Everything happens. I'm not going to I'm not going to talk about the training because there's nothing to talk about. To be honest, Izuku gets higher than he did once, but that was because he didn't want to use all of his strength, and now he can. There's no real surprise right now after what the feats and the accomplishments that he has done. Now, give me a second here, people. Let's see. Now, anyway, we all just get to the point where basically Izuku talks to Koda, and Koda is basically not going to yell at him because yelling at him is not such a good idea, but he does tell him to leave him alone. Deku asks why, and this is when basically Koda tells him everything about Muscular, saying, I lost my family a long time ago. And basically this man took him away from me. And basically, I'm now alone. And this is when Deku just says, look here, I understand that you're probably going through a rough patch. And this is when Koda smacks him in the head, not caring about what he says right now. He just says, you was called. I literally forgot. You think that, that you know what I'm going... He says that. He says, do you think you know what I'm going through? Well, you don't. You don't know what half of what I'm going through. This is when, basically, Todoroki and Froppy just... Well, basically, since Deku's there, and it's not like he's all the way over there in the other parts, all Deku just does is look at him and he says, I know the pain you're going through. A lot more than you give me credit for. And this is when he says, oh yeah? What has happened to you that hasn't happened to me? And this is when he says, nothing, I guess. And this is when he says, then get away from me. You're just... He doesn't want to deal with, I don't want to deal with you. Just go over there and drop dead. And this is when basically Froppy grabs Todoroki because Todoroki's about to lose her head. And this is when basically Deku just says, I think I'm just going to my room. You all have a good day. Basically, Izuku's in his room, and he's thinking. Give me a second here. Alright, anyway. What he's thinking in his mind is basically all the things that how would I say this? Made him the way he was. And this is when basically he just doesn't do anything besides just close his eyes. A tear just pops out of his head, or a tear just leaves one of his eyes, and basically another one. And this is when basically it's like a little gentle stream. And that is because he is now a little sad. Even though he closes his heart out to it, he understands that the tears sometimes show. As emotionless as his eyes are at times, it's a beautiful stream of sadness and depression in his eyes, and they just flow out with memories of his past. He understands deep down inside that he doesn't know what Izuku has gone through, but he knows what the kid has possibly gone through. Sadness, loneliness. He's been left out a couple of times. Abandonment. Different things. And he understands that. This is when basically he just says, I really forgot about that. I need to be understanding of the kid instead of trying to support him by being sympathetic. Give me a second here. Okay. So literally, I was lost in thought. Basically, Izuku, if I didn't say this already, he now just goes and gets out of the gets out of his room, and he basically goes back, and then he talks to a couple of people, and pretty much all he just does is stay alert because he sensed something, and he does not know why he does. But this is when he senses that danger is ahead. And this is when he just tells Aizawa, talking to him and saying, Aizawa, I said something. I sense something coming ahead. And this is basically when he says, what do you mean, Izuku? Or guts. This is when Izuku says, well, I sense that there's danger. I don't know how to deal with it. There might be a lot of them. I feel it all around me. And this is basically when he just starts to go outside, runs, and he basically sees Koda and Muscular. Why? Well, because let's just say that things tend to be a little more... How would I say this? They did it a little more early. Alright? And pretty much, he is now ready just to head on and fight freaking Muscular. And he doesn't know about Muscular, but he senses Koda's scent. It's a weird kind of scent, but it smells more like soap. And last time that he remembered it, let's just say that he was cleaning himself and using like different, let's just say he got himself a fresh pair of clothes, and he was using a little bit of Tide or Downy. Oh yeah, I forgot, Tide, Downy, if you want to, support me, you're welcome to. But anyway, give me a second here. Anyway, so basically he just goes and starts running, and then starts to smell different kinds of people. One smells like weird dead skin or burnt skin. Another one smells entirely of blood. One also smells like cigarettes. And after that, one also smells very weird. There's other ones too that he can smell, but he doesn't have the right words for them. But this is when he runs and just sees Muscular. And this is when he punches freaking Muscular in the freaking face. Oh, fudge, dude. Oh, man, the moment he just ran up to him and basically just punched him, this is when Muscular just felt this pain. And this is when Koda was crying. Basically, Deku saw Koda. Deku saw what Koda actually looks like, or not what actually looks like. He saw what Koda... Well, he saw Koda without, basically with a torn shirt. Because Muscular was grabbing him, he was going to, he actually will let go, but not let go. The pressure of the wind basically pushed Koda away while the shirt was ripped. Basically meaning that Deku was the cause of the shirt being ripped. But what Deku sees is much more different than what he thought in the first place. Meaning, Deku just saw a little kid without a shirt or a ripped shirt, and Muscular, the one who grabbed him. Basically, Izuku's having these bad memories, and this is when basically he grabs his sword and starts to charge at him 100%. This is when he slams his sword into the freaking ground, almost hitting Muscular. Muscular punches him in the face, and this is basically when Izuku just coughs up a little bit of blood, and this is when he just says, Koda, are you alright? And this is when Koda says, but you're bleeding. And this is when he says, it does not matter. I don't care how long this will take. I will protect you to the end. And this is when he starts to just run to him. And this is when Deku just slashes his sword across one of his arms. And this is when basically the muscles around it were cut, but it didn't hit him all the way to the bone. So basically Muscular regenerates. And this is when Izuku says, you're not going to touch him anymore. And swings it again, but misses. This is when Deku just sees what's happening, and he feels weird again. This is when he gets punched in the face, but Deku just doesn't feel a thing, while Muscular just feels actual pain, saying, ah, sheesh, what the heck is this kid? Ah, first time I punched him, it hurt. It didn't hurt at all. But it felt like I was going through titanium, or steel, or even a higher metal. Ah, crap, my fingers. Ah. Cracking his knuckles, and making sure that basically Izuku pays for what's going to come to him. Now, Izuku versus Muscular. Both are charging, but this is when Deku just throws his freaking sword. Muscular dodges, and this is when freaking Deku, with a fit of rage, just punches him in the freaking chin. To the whole point, using 100% full cal, just freaking pops his head off, actual blood coming out. This is when Izuku just grabs him and starts gnawing on all of his flesh. And when I mean pops, I meant to say it didn't tore his head off. Basically, his neck is now loose. So somebody has to pop that neck back into place for it to be 100% accurate. But Izuku's already finished eating him. Starts eating off his freaking leg. After that, the arm. And after that, his freaking torso. After that, eating everything besides the cock and balls. Well, I'm not having that. He's not going to eat that part. Basically, Izuku ate a lot of him, not leaving some parts out and eating the rest of them. Basically, Izuku just devoured him, well, basically using his Dark Predator skills. And this is when Izuku sees Koda. Koda's scared, and he says, I will tell you everything that happened to me. Right now, we've got to leave. Will you trust me this time? This is when Koda just says, you may be scary, but you're not a mean man. And this is when he says, I'm just a teenager. But we have to go. This is when Deku just starts running as fast as he can, using full cowling, and in probably 3 minutes he makes it to the school or to the training camp. And after that, he goes back and he starts destroying things again. Now this is when Izuku just starts running to the other place, getting ready to attack the other side. And give me a second here, people. Let's see. Now. Izuku going and running around, saving a lot of people. And here's the thing. Basically, Izuku is destroying a lot of people right now. He's destroying... Well, basically, he fought off against... freaking, what's his name again? Dark Shadow. And the other... Dark Shadow and Tokuyami, because of the whole freaking... them being rampaging. And pretty much, he just starts destroying a lot of the other people because... basically, he has to protect them. And that is what he has to do. So, basically, he just starts fighting them. And Izuku does not care. He's pretty much fighting the lizard guy. The other guy who can control magnetism or magnetic force. Let's see. What else? He fights twice in his gang. He fought Dobby. Pretty much the first time he fought the lizard guy, the guy lost, to be honest. He was very weak in his eyes. But that didn't stop Izuku from just smashing him with the sword. And basically hitting him so hard. And not only that, it's an 800-pound sword and he swings it like a baseball bat. Shout out to Patrick for that one. Basically, yeah, Izuku just destroys him with the smite of that sword. Oh, jeez. He does not care at all about what this guy does. Or he doesn't care that this guy is... I don't know how to say it, but I know what I'm saying. He basically doesn't care if he was the person who cared about freaking Stayed. He doesn't care at all. Now, Izuku just starts running towards other people and starts hitting them a lot. Not only that, Pretty much when Dabi tried to kill him using fire, all Izuku just did is used 100% force within his lungs and just pushed all the air towards freaking Dabi, or pushed all the fire, making a reversal back to him and hurting him in the very end. Izuku, after that, he just starts to try to attack others, like Moonfish, pretty much that, but a lot of them get out of the way, and here's the thing. Todoroki is actually wondering why everything's happening, but this is when he basically knows that freaking Bakugou is gone, and basically everybody finds out that Bakugou was the one who's being taken. Give me a second here, people. Anyway. So, basically all this happens. Bakugou is still taken away. Now, Izuku does not feel what he has felt back then. Or did I make Bakugou a woman on this one? I will make sure to correct this if Bakugou is a woman. So, yeah, pretty much she gets taken. Oh, I mean, he gets taken. And everything's the way it's supposed to be. They tried to save Bakugou, but in the very end, basically, they were there much more earlier, and they knew that since this is Izuku, they went all the way and basically protected him. So, either way, Izuku is now having to go rescue him. Now, all this happens, they feel kind of bad. Guts doesn't feel a thing besides, yeah, he feels kind of ashamed that he lost. But in the very end, he did his very best. And now he has to go hunt him down. Luckily for us, Momo still did what she usually did. And that is taking care of the problem. Now, Izuku just somewhat tells her to give it to him. And this is when he says, I'll go find him myself. Do not worry about this. Momo, listen to me. I'm going to be the one who gets him back. You have nothing to fear. And this is basically what happens. He doesn't care about him getting in trouble. He doesn't care about getting in trouble or not. He cares about protecting Bakugou. Why? Well, because he's a somewhat companion. Not an actual companion, but a companion that he needs to protect. Or a companion who he basically has to help. Don't know what else I was trying to say. But basically, yeah. Pretty much, he just goes and charges in. And he starts destroying stuff. Why? Well, because All Might in him. All Might said, "Young Guts, you need to help. You'll help us out. All right. So do not worry about that." And this is basically when Endeavor says, "Yeah, I don't care about working with you guys. Just don't get in my way." And Guts says, "You do the same." And this is when Endeavor just grunts and just says, whatever. And basically, the fight is now on. Due to the fact that Izuku and All Might were there. And here's the thing. I know that Izuku's not a hero, per se. He is someone who's going to protect people. So anyway, this is when basically Izuku just fights one of the people because he charges in with All Might, and pretty much the whole freaking All for One does his thing as usual, and pretty much Izuku now knows that he is taken. He has to try to find a way to get Izuku out of there, or Bakugou out of there, and after all that, All Might and Izuku just charge in and just start destroying things. Well, basically the people. Now, give me a second here. Oh boy. Okay. So basically they start fighting, and basically this is when All For One, you know, does his whole thing, his speech to him, which, yeah, pretty much to Shigaraki, and the fight continues. This is when basically All Might and Deku just start charging in, but Izuku was about to slam him with his fist, and this is when he just does the whole the thing known as teleportation, and pretty much teleported All Might's face, or teleported the punch to All Might's face, knocking freaking All Might out. All Might is on the ground and feeling this pain, and Izuku just charges in with the sword, about to cut him, and this is when basically All For One grabs the sword with both hands and just pushes it away. This is when basically All Might just gets back up and just does 100% smash on him, following by with Izuku just doing his 100% smash, and this is when basically All For One just blocks it, but he gets injured while blocking it. His left hand feels okay, while his right one feels so shaky, it feels like it's in pain. Now, give me a second here, people. Anyway. So basically this is when Izuku just starts in and starts trying to attack. And this is when All Might attacks as well. Both of them are being coordinated as much as they can, but this is when Izuku just is grabbed by freaking All For One and being thrown aside while he just goes around and sees pretty much a lot of damage. And this is when basically he's on the ground with basically some rebar hitting in his side. And this is when basically he's a little dizzy. Pretty much Izuku just gets up, feels a little weak, and now has to know that he has to go 100% and even further than that. This is when basically he was near a family or a bunch of people that were running away, and this is basically this is when a lot of people are running away in fear, and this is when Izuku has an idea, stopping all the people, and this is basically when Izuku is holding them up for a couple of seconds. Being held up for a couple of seconds and says, "I need you guys to scream." And basically all of them are being scared because right now his bloodlust is showing. And this is when their fears are basically going haywire. And this is when he's absorbing all of the people's fears right now. Their fears, their emotional sadnesses, everything right now is being absorbed. And Izuku is now black. And not black, I mean hockey black. Which is, well, that's black. But his hardening quirk is activated. There we go. Oh boy, they're gonna kill me. But Izuku just somewhat runs in there. After that, Guts just charges with a kick and basically hitting him hard. This is when All For One feels this pain, and he says, "Wait a minute, how did you, oh man, how did you do that?" This is when Izuku says, "Sorry, but I have a mission right now, and that's to kill any evil that is on this earth. You guys are the true monsters." And basically running, grabbing his sword, slashing, but this is when All For One just tries to move away. This is when All Might gets in there, and basically Deku says, "Thank you, All Might," and just slashes him right down the freaking middle, basically hitting his chest to the whole point where there's a deep gash now. All For One is on the ground. Deku won. The good guys won in the very end. But this is when Izuku just starts to let out a lot of steam. And it's basically the sweat all around his body being stored in And the steam just is the aftermath of it all, causing him to basically pass out. And that is where I'm going to leave this one off. Now, like, comment, do subscribe to the channel here, people. This has been the Fallout What If here. Bye.